Hi, this is Buck McKeon reporting from Washington. I've been over the last few months trying to report back to you, my constituents. Periodically, I just pick some of them out of the pile and try to answer them here on the web. So this is some of the ones that we've got here today. Robert from McKeon says, "Hello, sir. This is my first time corresponding to you, and I just wanted to send a big thank you for your vote for H.R. 822, National Right to Carry Reciprocity Act. It means a lot to me, being a disabled vet who's very active in the shooting sports at the Apple Valley Gun Club in Victorville, California, as well as a member of the NRA and the MLNRA. Robert, I was a co-sponsor of that bill. I've been a strong supporter of Second Amendment rights. I think that people constitutionally have the right to have weapons and to use them for self-protection, for hunting, for recreational shooting, for whatever they desire to do. This bill, if enacted into law, passed in the House, now has to go through the Senate and be signed by the President to become law. But if it does, it means that those people who have gone through all of the checks and obtained a license in their particular state where they live to carry a concealed weapon would be able also to carry it across state lines and into other states. So I think that it's a good bill. It requires people to do the requisite things that they need to do to get the license, get the card to carry weapons. So I think there is, I think it's a good bill. Russell from Canyon Country says, the government has to stop overspending, stop giving money to other countries until our own country is on solid footing, stop supporting all illegal persons in our country, and stop taxing us more so the government can spend more. There has to be a solution to bring the economy back up. Russell, you say a lot in just a few words there. It's very well put, and I agree with you. We are overspending. We've been doing it for decades, spending money that we don't have. It's to the point now where we're borrowing about 42 cents for every dollar we spend. Individuals can't do that. State governments by law are supposed to balance their budgets. Cities and counties are supposed to balance their budgets. In 1995, we presented a balanced budget amendment that would require the federal government to also balance their budget and not do deficit spending. That passed at that time in the House, and it passed, or it came within one vote of passing in the Senate. We brought that identical bill up a week ago, and it failed to pass in the House. Something like 50 Democrats that voted for it before didn't vote for it this time, voted against it. The leadership of the Democratic Party, 2 out of 3 voted for it before, and they all voted against it this time and campaigned against it. It was the identical wording. If we had passed that bill and it had become a constitutional amendment, we wouldn't be in as bad a shape as we're in right now. So we should learn from past problems, and we should bring that bill up again and vote it and get it passed. I think you're right. We do spend a lot of money on illegal immigrants. We spend money to some foreign governments that you wonder why, and I know that that's something that needs to be very thoroughly reviewed. And taxing us more it's crazy. We don't have a taxing problem. We have a spending problem. We don't need to take more people from more money from the American people. We need to bring our spending in order. And finally, here's one from Phil in Valencia. Hi, I'm disappointed that progress is not being made in Washington in regards to much of anything, especially on budget and debt issues. What do we need to do to get more action? It seems like nothing is being accomplished there. The supercommittee has failed. No one is taking action. This has been the case for too many years. We know we have similar problems to Europe, but no one is talking to the American people about the realities of life and the world. There's a bunch of political dancing going on, but no education of the people. What can we get someone to do? What can we do to get someone to talk reality to the world, the American public? Very good points, Phil. Let me do some real talk here. Out of our federal budget, as I just mentioned to Russell, 40% of what we're spending, we are borrowing, so that our interest on the debt, and it's very, very low interest rate right now, is running about the same as our national defense budget. That's just unsustainable. It's just crazy. We have passed, we go back just a little bit. One of the main things I think we need to do to solve this problem is first get a handle on spending, cut the spending, which we are working on, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But we also have to get the people that are out of work. We've got over 15 million people that are out of work. If we could get them back to work and broaden the tax base and have more revenue coming in and continue to cut the spending, we could get this problem turned around pretty quickly. We have passed about 30 job bills in this Congress so far this year. The House has had like about 900 votes. And out of the 30 bills we've passed in the House and sent to the Senate, they have not acted on one of them. So it's a real problem. It's becoming very political. The president started his campaign on Labor Day, and he's pretty much left the White House and traveling around the country campaigning, or traveling around the world campaigning, whatever. But he's not focused. He didn't help us on the supercommittee. Didn't provide any leadership there, and as a consequence, I'm not blaming it on him. I'm just saying that maybe a little leadership there would have helped. One of the problems is the Democrats do not want to cut the spending, and Republicans do not want to increase taxes. And so you have just real principled feelings and just different ways of solving the problem. And there's no real interest in compromising or really trying to solve those issues. Republicans on the supercommittee did put forth some increased revenue, but the Democrats said if we didn't have $1 trillion in new taxes, they weren't going to work together to solve the problem. So we're back to point zero again. We're starting all over. One thing that did happen, though, as a result of that failure of the supercommittee to come up with a proposal, we passed the Deficit Reduction Act earlier this summer that cut about $1 trillion. We'll see it rolling out in next year's budget as we go forward over the next 10 years. It cut about $1 trillion, and almost half of that came out of defense. Defense is about 20% of the whole budget, but about half of those cuts came out of defense. And then because the super committee couldn't finish their work, we have now hanging over our heads sequestration, which means we have to come up with other ways to cut, or in January of 2013, automatic cuts will kick in, and $600 billion of that will come out of defense on top of the almost $500 billion that we've already got. So going forward in the next 10 years, we would be cutting annually over $100 billion out of defense, which I think is just totally unacceptable, especially when we have troops that are in harm's way and at war right now in Afghanistan. So this is a big problem. It's a complicated problem, but it's also simple. Cut spending, get people back to work, pass the bills that we've got to help people get back to work with jobs, and grow our way out, cut our way out, and don't increase taxes. Until next time, this is Buck McKeon talking to you from Washington. Thank you very much.